should put that on video.
What's happening, Cody?
The donkey.
What is that? Well, today we're going to be processing a bunch of leaf lard down. So that is the fat, the good fat off of a bunch of hogs. And how it all began was Aaron ran out of the last of the lard that we use to season our cast iron pans. I had put some in our Azure cart. We were just going to go with tallow because we really wanted to buy the best quality that we could. And I got a phone call from my friend Crystal, and she asked me if I wanted a case of leaf lard, and I said absolutely. Canceled that order, and she gave us this entire case that we are going to grind down and get turned into lard.
Okay, so today we got this leaf lard, and the leaf lard is the best lard that there is on a pig. It's down and around the organs and stuff. It's not connected to any of the muscles, so it will render down to be the whitest lard that you can get. Yeah, so we're gonna cut this up today. I'm gonna cut up in little chunks. Jessica's gonna put it through the grinder, and then she'll get it onto, we'll get it onto the stove.
So we have never used our Bosch to grind anything, so we're excited. We were promised by the manufacturers, the sellers, those sort of things, that this would process a whole moose. So we're gonna find out if it'll process a whole case of leaf lard.
The smaller the chunks that I can make for her, the easier that thing should have it to cut and to grind.
And not only that, by grinding the lard, we are not gonna have big chunks of crackling left at the end, but you could certainly, if you don't have a meat grinder, you could absolutely just cut these chunks down by hand as small as you can and just render the lard like that. That's exactly what we did on the last batch when we lived in Arizona, is I just chopped it as small as I could get it. I didn't have a meat grinder, and that lard lasted us all the way till up here. Moving over here to our little camp stove, we're gonna try and render this outside. And what I want to do is get a little bit of it going in the pan. And we just wanna low and slow start getting some of the fat rendered out in the bottom before we add to it. And that will help keep it from burning or sticking to the bottom. This is super sticky. We already have a good layer of fat down here in the bottom that it's already melting super quickly. And now I have our first full bowl, and I'll show you how much is still left to go. So what the goal is to get all of the fat rendered out. What that means is it melts, it gives off the fat, and the fat separates from any impurities as well as any meat or hair, anything that may be still left in here.
I've only used a couple big chunks of this out of here so far, and so there's just a lot to it, and I mean a lot of fat actually, not a lot to work to it, just chunking it up so she can get it through the grinder here. But good day.
So you haven't even used a quarter of that bag?
Oh.
And we have one pot completely full already.
Nice.
This is my third bowl. Aaron is still chopping away. And what do you think? Another bowl and a half, 2 bowls?
Probably.
Something like that. Let me get this in the pan. So it kept snowing on us, and because water is the main thing we want to avoid, I had to move the cooker into the garage here. But what I'm skimming off is any of these bubbles off the top. But this lard is already getting super, super close to the first strain. Break it up. Keep stirring it around while Aaron finishes out there.
So I want to take a quick second to show you guys the difference in the leaf lard and the regular just fat off the hog, right? This is, like we said, this is the fat down around the organs and stuff that's not connected to the meat tissues. Look how beautiful, clean this lard is, this fat, right? I mean, it's got this little bit of blood here that will clean up a little bit. This fat has got all the meat attached to it still. There's, you know, some skin, some meat, stuff like that. So there's a lot less imperfections in this than there is here.
We want to keep the leaf lard completely separate as we render this down, and I want to be able to use it for pastries and the most beautiful types of baking. Even the color, it's like just a little more yellow. This is different.
All right, you wanna... Oh man, my blade's getting dull.
What is that? I was out rendering lard, cleaning the garage, and look at what Destiny and Kayla brought me.
That's what this one's supposed to look like? This is gonna be a jam.
They're so cute. So you said there's some Icelandics in here?
Yeah.
Nice. I don't have any Icelandics.
The other two are mystery.
Then they're just a mystery. But they're all egg layers, right?
No, we don't know.
Yeah. These are all egg
No, they're all egg
chickens.
layers.
They're not.
Rooster.
They aren't. Oh yeah. If we have a rooster, it will not lay an egg. They're not meat birds. These are all. I am so happy. Okay, we have to get set up for chickens on Spirit the 2nd. I love it. Chicken. All right, I'm shutting off this batch, and it is ready to jar up. So we already have almost a dozen quarts jarred up, and then we also have 11 pints jarred up. These two are the last batches of the leaf lard that we have going, and I want to just show you kind of all the different processes and steps at one time. So we've moved the hot lard over here. I don't want to move or touch it too much because it is boiling hot. But what has happened is it has worked down. It has no more water in it. There's no bubbles coming up no matter what we do. And then this is the second of the 2 straining process that I do. There's a lot of people that just strain straight from the fat into the jar, and then that's where they do it. But I like to do a 2-step process where I actually will strain out the cracklings, put the oil back into the pan, and then I am able to see that all the moisture has come out of it. I also don't want to overcook it. I don't want a deep, dark color to my lard. Therefore, I want to be able to strain it, get all the moisture out, and then strain it again when I'm jarring it. I don't normally wipe my rims twice, but I use a dry towel at first, and then this rag is straight vinegar, and I really want to get any fat that could possibly be on the rim like super, super clean. So what happens doing it this way is the oil is so hot that the jars will seal themselves. And if we don't have anything impeding that, then air, moisture is not getting to the lard, and it can last a really long time. However, the recommended amount of storage is 1 year. We're gonna get right back over here to this pan, and this is that one bag that had some meat attached, and it just is like body fat and not leaf lard. So what I have here is a strainer, some cheesecloth, and this little bit that's the final leftover lard that didn't fit in either one of the last pans. And because I'm gonna do a second strain, that just goes back to the fire. And we have beautiful clear lard, but what is gonna happen is all that water is gonna cook out now. Well, I was inside trying to wash up all the oily pans that we haven't been using. Erin went ahead and did the first strain of this, and we wanted to show you, pick that up. This is how much this one has given off. Like, that's a ton. We might try and put this nice and low in the red pot on our wood cook stove overnight and see if we can render some more out of it. But this is so much darker in color, and all of what that one rendered out, this is lighter and less. This is all of what the 50 pounds of leaf lard rendered out as far as cracklings go.
It must be a mess.
I am grabbing the last of the lard for this evening. The other bucket I have sitting on the wood cook stove, but the first thing I'm gonna fill is actually the jar that we use for all of our cast iron pans. So let me show you the color difference. It is so much darker. It's the next day, obviously, and I wanted to show you what we ended up with. I do still have some lard going in the red pot on the wood cook stove, nice and low. And then I want to show you the main thing is gonna be the color difference. So this is the leaf lard, and then this is just the fat that's regular lard. So side by side, what a massive difference you can tell. The other differences are gonna be that leaf lard gets really, really firm. It's gonna get along the lines of like a Crisco or a store-bought lard. Now those are really processed and you can use them. I have no problem with what anyone else uses in their kitchen, and I think there's places for them as well. However, in the baking, to get the finest pastries, we're gonna use these in place of that. This is my jar, and it's not quite set up yet. This is what we use to season all of our cast iron. There's many ways that you can store the lard. These are sealed. So now I'm going to remove the rings from them. They're sealed. They've cooled down to room temperature, and these can be kept in a cool, dark place for a very, very long time. With a grand total of 60 pounds is right about what we rendered down. We ended up with 5.5 gallons of lard. That should be a year's worth for Aaron and I and our kids and our family in the ways that we use it. However, if we do have the opportunity to come across more of it, we will, of course, render more down, and then we'll start using this more frequently than we use it right now. My suggestion, get really close to your local butcher. In doing so, they have opportunities like this where they have a surplus and they can't use it, or it's taking up freezer space and they need it out of there. And that is the case that we have right here in front of us. Crystal was able to come across some lard that was just going to be thrown out. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't old. They just didn't have the space or the means to store it, and there was no one coming to pick it up. So she came across this, shared the wealth, and I'm greatly appreciative of it. But if you would like to come across lard, other ways we've done is we just went to our local butcher and we would buy either leaf lard or regular lard, whatever they had available. So that's how you can do this at home. I personally believe one of the very best ways to use the lard is homemade biscuits. And because of that, we're gonna be making homemade biscuits with some fried chicken, because you can absolutely fry in lard, and biscuits and southern fried chicken. Is there anything better on a Sunday dinner than that? I don't think there is. So I need 4 cups of flour. So I need 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I need half a teaspoon of baking soda. I need a couple of teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm gonna bring this together before I move on to the wet ingredients. Opening this brand new lard from yesterday. It's not quite set up yet. We didn't have it in the fridge. But I need 6 tablespoons of leaf lard per batch, so I have 12. So when the leaf lard is not loose like this, which it shouldn't be, but we are in a little bit of a time crunch, you would just break it into the biscuit dough the same as you would butter. So we've brought it together, some coarse crumbles, and now I'm gonna add the buttermilk. So I have 2 cups here. I might not use it all. It's all based on a texture. So you just want the biscuit dough to come together, but we don't want to knead it. I only bring it together where I can see that it's sticking, but not completely compressed, where if I take it and I do this, I can compress it. We don't want to. We want those flaky layers in the biscuit. I had to grab the extra flour, So we're gonna do a little bit of flour to roll out on. Not too much because I have this mat here, which really does help. Pull that out. And I'm gonna just gently use the rolling pin to bring the dough the rest of the way together. I have a little sticky spot there, so use a little flour on it. And I'm gonna cut out biscuit rounds. I've already got the buttermilk out, and so I'm gonna give each one of them a little top dressing of buttermilk. I'm gonna put these all lard buttermilk biscuits in a 450-degree oven. They're gonna go for 13 to 15 minutes. That's hot and flaky. The main reason I was ordering lard in the first place, or tallow, is for the care of my cast iron pans. I thought this would be a perfect time to discuss that. Now this pan is quite a bit dirtier, however, with what we cooked in it, it's no big deal. So I'm gonna use a rubber spatula and try first to get all the bits off the sides of the pan. When you're cooking with the cast iron, it's best to do this when the pan is warm. Anyway, after getting it to the point where there's hardly anything left, I have the hot water running in the sink. I am still going to take a wash rag. Let me get you in here. And I am going to scrub off the bits. Now, I just have a little bit of mild dish soap on the rag, and that's residual from wiping off the counters. So you can see the color of the water. There's a lot coming off. So this is a lukewarm. I would never use boiling water to clean the pan because all I'm cleaning is the surface. Now the outside of this pan got hammered pretty hard with the oil and that stove, and so I am going to use soap on the outside. So I'm gonna just towel dry it, but in order to truly dry a cast iron pan, we need heat. Okay, in this pan we have what's left of the lard rendering down. We're just gonna bring this over, set it on the hottest part of the cook stove. It is running, we have a fire going, and I'm just going to let this pan dry. Now that the pan is dry, I'm going to take some of this lard, and I just use an old rag, and the rag stays with the lard. And I just want to get a really, really thin coat everywhere. Now the outside of this pan doesn't really look like it needs it, but if you were brand new seasoning a pan for the first time, that also helps. From here, I would just take the pan and hang it on the wall. This one goes on the floor with the lid on it, and that is it. I do want to share with you the reason I use animal fat and really believe in that for my pans. Not that I haven't been known to use any oil I can get my hands on for the pans. What I have found with seed and nut oils is if you fry in the cast iron, it builds up on the rim or the sides of the pan. My pans, by using the animal fats, really are non-stick, and I don't have a big buildup on them. The seed and the nut oils, when I have had to use them, they run down my wall when they get hot. They just don't do as well. So I'm a big believer in lard or tallow being the thing that I season the pans with. However, they're your pans. Use what you're comfortable with. I need to be just done with this project, and because we're gonna be frying some chicken, we're gonna use this oil or this lard right away. This is what has rendered out. I'm going to just strain that into our frying pan.
You put that on video.
What's happening, Cody?
The donkey.
You're supposed to be quiet while Aaron records.
I'm done.
What are you doing?
Let's make some
Potatoes.
fried chicken.
All right, let's get into it.
So we're gonna take some flour here and add our seasonings to it. You guys add whatever seasonings you like. Okay, so we got some buttermilk here as well. And we're gonna add our seasonings to it. Get that all mixed up. Okay, so we're gonna make this really good fried chicken.
It's southern fried chicken. Southern fried buttermilk.
All right, so we're making some
Buttermilk
southern
fried
fried chicken. So this is homegrown chicken here,
In our backyard.
right here in the yard. We're gonna go in the buttermilk first. Okay, we're rolling with the oil about 350 degrees. Lay that chicken in there. All right, we got that chicken fried up. Let's see what she looks like. Oh, man. Looking good. It's gonna be a touch warm.
Give it a sec.
Homegrown chicken, rendered lard, a little bit of special seasonings, you know, we won't tell anybody secrets, but excellent. Here, try it out. Blow on it.
Blow on it.
It's a little warm.
Y'all.
Wet.
You know, people have
Why?
very like
Oh, salad?
so I'm not
Right.
so.
Who's the Clark off of Pittsburgh? Nah, dude. It's really tight. Everybody's in there.
Got
Yeah,
salad?
maybe. But I got a little space. You know.
I'm gonna make one for you.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh. A giraffe?
So here's what we ended up with. Some southern fluffy biscuits, some fried chicken, some homegrown potatoes as well with a little bit of bacon gravy. And Cody brought us a beautiful salad.
I made that.
You made that. We're gonna go and enjoy our family.
Say it every night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one you like? No, this one. I think that one's blackberry. Oh yeah. Oh, blackberry. Ew! You love them? You love them so much?
And like I said, this is why we look the way we do.
I'm not leaving that.
Somebody's gonna agree in the comments if your feelings are gonna be hurt.